Now I would like to give the floor to Ambassador Moulimi. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Ambassador, Mr. Hammerish, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's not going to be easy for me following such an impressive presentation by the Ambassador regarding the success story of India. We take pride in the success story of India, and we believe that it gives hope and inspiration to many countries in the world, including ourselves. In the past couple of days, I've met quite a few interesting people. We've had a lot of good discussions, interesting discussions. One of the comments that I heard I thought was quite relevant, and I wanted to share with you. In one of the discussions, someone said, well, Sweden is not a rich country. Sweden is not a rich country. I don't know if the person who said that statement is here this morning or not. I'm not going to identify that person.
Her.
I'm not going to identify the person.
He or she will not identify himself.
And the person went on to say, we are not even in the top 10 of per capita income. By that definition, Saudi Arabia is a very poor country. So we'll leave it at that. But suffice it to say that in terms of GDP, Saudi Arabia is the largest economy in the Middle East. And when we talk about the Middle East, we include Turkey, we include, of course, Iran and Pakistan, and all the way west to Morocco, including Egypt, countries that have 2 or 3 times the population of Saudi Arabia sometimes. But nevertheless, Saudi Arabia is the largest economy in the Middle East. If you combine Saudi Arabia and the GCC states, the rest of the Gulf states, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Oman, and the United Arab Emirates, you would get into a GDP of close to $800 billion. Saudi Arabia alone is more than $500 billion. So that gives you an indication of a size of a market that is formidable in terms of its potential and in terms of its demand. Population in Saudi Arabia is about 26 million people. So along with the rest of the Gulf states, we would provide a block of about 35 million people with a very high purchasing power. That is more than the size of Canada, more than the size of Australia, markets that are traditionally known to be attractive markets for investment and for trade and so forth. So I'm trying to give you a perspective in terms of the relative weight of this economy. Thirdly, Saudi Arabia has been blessed with abundant oil reserves. We sit on top of 1/4 of the proven oil reserves of the world. And I would say, thank God that these reserves are under the territories of a responsible and constructive member of the world community as Saudi Arabia is, because we have proven over the past 30 years and more that we have treated our position of wealth and power responsibly. We have treated this position constructively in the world's market. When prices were too high, we did our best to try to moderate these prices. When prices were too low for the good of the world economy, too low for the good of the developing countries, too low for the good of producing countries, we also tried to influence that in a manner that makes it on a more sustained and constructive manner. We continue to exercise this policy prudently. Saudi Arabia has invested tremendously to get its production capacity up to 12.5 million barrels a day. We produce currently about 8 or 8.5 million barrels a day. So that excess capacity is, if you like, the unleashed weapon that allows us the flexibility to interfere constructively in the world's markets to generate stability and sustainability to those markets. We are investing heavily to increase that capacity up to 15 million barrels per day by the year 2015 in order to meet increasing demand and to be able to again continue to play a positive role in moderating prices and maintaining the stability. Saudi Arabia is the only country in the world that has such a level of excess production capacity. Almost everybody else is producing up to full capacity or within just a few 100,000 barrels per day of full capacity.